You know that hum your microwave makes? That low vibration in your teeth? I still feel it. Every damn night. 10 years later, sitting in my Arizona home, listening to canyon winds carry that same frequency. Last Tuesday, I found something in my backyard. A perfect circle melted into my concrete patio, right where I'd placed my satellite dish. And you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I unplugged everything. Every electronic device in this house, because I know what they're listening for, and I'm not giving them another signal. Look, I've spent the last 20 years digging through Cold War debris. You find strange things when you pull at loose threads of military history. Phantom convoys in Vietnam, submarines that went silent, patrols that walked into Afghan mountains and came back different. But Outpost Novia? That one keeps me up. It's not just what happened to us, it's where it happened. There are places on this earth where longitude lines get so tight, they almost strangle each other. Places where compass needles just spin because the magnetic field's drunk on its own power. The high Arctic isn't just a location, it strips away everything human until only the biology's left. Raw. Exposed. To understand why a 19-year-old kid from the Texas Panhandle found himself staring into the dark at the top of the world, you gotta understand 1962. The world was holding its breath after Cuba. We were seconds from nuclear annihilation, and the military was scrambling to plug every blind spot. The fear wasn't about tanks. It was about Soviet bombers coming over the North Pole, using the ice cap like a highway. So we built the DEW line, a chain of radar stations across the frozen neck of North America, manned by guys who were half technician, half infantry, completely isolated. But Outpost Novia? You won't find it on any official map. It was a gap filler, a classified black site on unstable ice north of the main line, designed to catch low-flying aircraft trying to slip under radar. It was just corrugated steel huts connected by heated tunnels, powered by diesel generators that never stopped screaming. Outside, 40 below zero. Inside, it reeked of stale coffee, cigarette smoke, and unwashed wool. My name's Elias. I was the youngest on rotation, never seen snow before boot camp. Suddenly I'm living where the sun hadn't risen in 3 weeks. My job? Stand in a glass tower, or walk frozen catwalks, staring at white nothingness, waiting for Russian bombers that everyone prayed would never come. If you've ever pulled guard duty in a remote post, you know the enemy isn't always the guy with the rifle. It's the boredom. The silence. Your brain craves input. When you give it nothing but white ice and black sky for 12 hours at a time, it starts making up its own entertainment. We called it polar gaze, that 1,000-yard stare that turns inward. I wrote letters home that were never mailed. Found in my footlocker weeks later. Early ones joked about coffee freezing if you walked 10 feet without a lid. But by mid-November, the tone shifted. I wrote about the radar's hum. It's not just the machinery, I'd written. The air hums. When the big dish rotates, I feel it in my teeth, like the ice is vibrating with it. End quote. Captain Miller said I wasn't used to altitude, but we were at sea level. I think the radar was waking things up. That was the first sign the floor was dropping out from under us. The crew was small. Captain Miller, the OIC, a piece of iron left over from Korea, believed clean uniforms and perfect bunks were all that separated civilization from savagery. Then there was Vance, big loud guy who laughed too hard at his own jokes to cover how scared he was of the dark. And Soren. Soren was our radar tech. Smartest guy in the room. Treated that radar array like a living thing. Knew its heartbeat. On November 14th, the heartbeat skipped. It was during the 1400 watch. Should have been afternoon, but in polar night, 1400 looks exactly like 0200, pitch black, lit only by yellow halos of perimeter floodlights. I was up in the tower, fighting to keep my eyes open, scanning. The fence was 12-foot chain link topped with razor wire. Beyond it, ice sheet stretching forever. Down in the control shack, Soren was staring at the primary scope. Sweep arm rotating, green light cutting darkness. Sweep. Nothing. Sweep. Nothing. Then, sweep. Contact. Captain. Soren's voice was tight. I've got a ghost. Miller looked up. Atmospheric? No, sir. Too solid. It's moving against the wind. Miller walked over. Aircraft? Speed's wrong. Maybe 30 knots. Too slow for a plane. Too fast for a ship. And it's low. Deck level. Probably sensor echo. Ice heave reflecting the signal. It's not ice, Soren insisted. It just turned 10 degrees north, heading for the perimeter. Miller grabbed the handset. Tower. This is command. Eyes on north quadrant. Radar shows contact closing. Distance 4 miles. I nearly jumped out of my skin when the radio crackled. Grabbed the mic. Command. This is tower. Got nothing visual. Just snow. Keep looking. Might be a bear. Or Soviet recon team on sleds. I pressed my face against cold glass. Raised binoculars. Optics were heavy. Freezing against my eye sockets. Scanned the darkness beyond floodlights. Light faded into gloom about 50 yards out. Beyond that, just shadows. 10 minutes passed. Radio silent. Only sound was wind buffeting steel walls and that low-frequency thrum from the radar dish above me. Command tower. Still nothing. Radar still holding contact? Soren's voice came back, puzzled. It's gone, Elias. Signal dropped off the scope about a mile out. Disappeared. Disappeared? Yeah. Like it sank. I lowered binoculars. Rubbed my eyes. Roger that. Probably just a ghost. I relaxed. Exhaled, fogging the glass. Reached for my thermos. Unscrewed the cap. That's when I saw it. Not a mile out. Not 5 miles out. Right there. At the edge of floodlights' reach, where illumination bled into dark, something detached itself from a pressure ridge's shadow. I froze. Thermos halfway to my mouth. Brain trying to categorize what I was seeing. Bear. First instinct. Polar bears were apex predators here. Massive. White. Dangerous. But bears move with weight. Mass. This thing moved like water. Pale. Color of dirty ice. Low to the ground. It didn't step. It flowed. Slithered over a snowbank. Dropped into the trough with a fluidity that made my stomach turn. Long. Maybe 7 or 8 feet, but thin. Thermos clattered against metal grating. Loud as a gunshot in that small space. I fumbled for binoculars. Hands shaking. Tried to focus on where I'd seen movement. Nothing. Just white slope of snowbank. Command. This is tower, I whispered. Voice trembling. I saw something. North perimeter. Sector 4. Define something, Private. Miller snapped back. I don't know, sir. Looked like an animal. But wrong. It's gone now. Keep eyes on. Sending Vance out to check the wire. Sir, wait, I squinted. I think it's by the fence. I grabbed the spotlight handle, a heavy chrome lever, swung it left, hit the switch. Million candle power beam cut through dark, turning falling snow into dazzling white sparks. Swept across ice. There, for a split second, light caught something. Not on the ground. On the fence. Halfway up the chain link, clinging to metal mesh. Light too bright, washing out details. But I saw a shape vaguely human, yet elongated. Like someone had taken a man and stretched him on a rack. Limbs splayed out, gripping wire. And then it turned its head. I didn't see a face. Saw a smooth, pale surface where a face should be. Featureless except for slight indentation where a mouth might go. No eyes. Or if it had them, they were closed. Jesus Christ, I hissed, recoiling from glass. The creature didn't jump, didn't run, simply let go. Dropped backward into snow with no sound, vanishing instantly into white background like it dissolved. Tower! Report! Miller shouting now. It was on the fence, I yelled back. Sir, something was climbing the fence. Just dropped. Vance is in the airlock, going out. Cover him. I grabbed my M14, felt like a block of ice in my hands. Racked the bolt. That metallic clack-clack was almost reassuring. Kept spotlight on where the thing had been. Below me, heavy steel door groaned open. Vance stepped out, bundled in parka, M14 slung over shoulder, flashlight in hand. Davison was with him. Looked like astronauts on the moon, breath puffing in clouds. Tower. This is Vance. At location. Don't see anything. It was right there, Vance. I said over radio, watching from above. 12 o'clock. Right in front of you. Vance walked up to fence line. Swept flashlight beam up and down wire. No tracks, Elias. Snow's fresh. Nothing's been walking here. I saw it. I insisted, cold sweat breaking out under thermal layers. It was climbing the mesh. Vance stepped closer. Inspected the metal. Stopped. Reached out with gloved hand. Touched the chain link. Command, Vance said. Voice changing pitch. You need to see this. What is it? Miller asked. The fence, Vance said. It's bent. Bent? Yeah, but it's bent the wrong way. I leaned forward against glass. Vance stood where the creature had clung. Heavy gauge steel mesh, designed to withstand charging bears, was warped, bulging outward. What do you mean wrong way? Miller asked. It's bowed out, Vance said. Confusion in his voice. Something didn't try to climb in, sir. Metal's pushed from inside out. Like something was here, on the secure side, pushing to get out. I stared. I'd seen it on the outside. Was sure of it. But Vance was right. From spotlight shadows, metal was definitely deformed outward. That's impossible, I whispered to myself. I saw it on the outer face. Secure the perimeter, Miller ordered. Vance, full sweep. Check snow for tracks inside compound. I watched them walk the line, flashlights cutting through dark. Kept spotlight moving, waiting for pale shape to reappear. But ice was empty. Lowered rifle. Heart slowing, but adrenaline left sour taste. Looked at spilled thermos on floor. Dark puddle of coffee spreading across metal grate. Bent down to pick it up, and that's when I heard it. Not over radio. Not mechanical. Coming from ventilation duct along ceiling, a small 6-inch square vent connecting tower to main air circulation deep below. Sound like wet leather sliding against metal. Slap. Drag. Slap. Drag. I froze. Crouched on floor. Ear turned toward vent. Rhythmic. coming from inside ductwork. Getting closer. Stood slowly. Raised rifle barrel toward ceiling vent. Grate screwed shut. Thick white industrial paint. Slap. Drag. It stopped right above my head. Held my breath. Stared at vent cover. Absolute silence except wind outside. Then, the screw-holding corner of vent cover slowly began to turn, not vibrating loose, being unscrewed. From inside, paint cracked as screw head rotated. Tiny flake of white drifted down, landed on my shoulder. Backed away. Hit glass wall. Eyes locked on ceiling. "Command," I whispered into radio, too terrified to speak loud. "Command. I think something's in the vents." "Say again, tower?" The screw fell. Hit floor with tiny ting. Then a voice came from the vent. Not human. Sounded like recording played at wrong speed. Choppy. Metallic. Movement on the wire. It was my own voice. The transmission I'd sent 5 minutes ago. I stared in horror. The thing wasn't just listening. It was learning. "Command!" I screamed, keying mic. "It's inside. It's in the tower." But before Miller could answer, lights flickered and died. Only illumination came from red emergency bulb above door. Bathed room in dried blood color. And in that red darkness, vent cover fell with a clatter. Something pale and fluid began pouring from ceiling. The transcript of my frantic transmission ends abruptly. Station's incident log picks up exactly 3 minutes later. According to Miller's heavily redacted report, I discharged my weapon inside Watchtower. 7 rounds of 7.62 ammo, fired at ceiling in space no bigger than closet. When response team kicked down door, they found me curled in corner, deafened by concussion of my own rifle, shaking so hard I couldn't hold flashlight. Ceiling vent hanging by single screw, twisted metal gaping like broken jaw. Interior freezing, temperature dropped 20 degrees in seconds. But nothing else in room. No body. No blood. Just cordite smell and strange odor, Miller described as ozone and wet copper. This is where story shifts from ghost story to tragedy of command. In any modern army, soldier who empties magazine at ventilation shaft gets pulled offline. Sedated. Evacuated. Evaluated. But Outpost Novia wasn't modern deployment. It was siege. Thousands of miles from nearest psychiatrist. Stuck on shifting ice shelf in Cold War's most dangerous winter. Miller didn't have luxury of losing a man to what he called acute polar psychosis. Miller's reaction was predictable. Mechanical. He inspected vent. Ran gloved finger through ductwork. Found smear of viscous, clear fluid. Didn't bag it for analysis. Wiped it on pant leg. Told me it was hydraulic condensation from roof actuators. Said isolation was getting to me. Voice was just wind whistling through baffles. Shape I saw was shadow from emergency light. Made sense on paper. You don't validate delusion. You stomp it out with logic and routine. But Miller made one critical mistake. He ignored the fence. Next morning, if you can call it morning, when skies still bruised purple of eternal twilight, Miller ordered detail to repair breach in Sector 4. Couldn't have my hallucination compromising physical security. If wind-bent fence, needed fixing. If bear did it, needed reinforcing. Detail consisted of Vance and Davison. I was confined to quarters. Rest and refit. Really hiding me so my panic wouldn't infect others. But I didn't sleep. Spent hours writing. Sat in bunk with clipboard, scribbling by red tactical lamplight, documenting everything I could hear through thin metal walls. Heard wind die down around 0900. Heard heavy thud of airlock cycling as Vance and Davison went outside. Heard radio chatter on squad frequency, monitoring it on handheld unit I'd smuggled in. Repair job was brutal. 45 below zero. At that temperature, metal becomes brittle. Exposed skin freezes in less than a minute. Vance prided himself on being immune to elements, but even he was struggling. Logs show they spent hours just clearing drift snow from fence base. "Command, this is Repair 1. Vance's voice crackled. "We've got mesh heated up, attempting to bend back into alignment." "Captain, you sure we don't want to cut this section out? It's really warped." "Negative," Miller replied from Warm Command Center. "Don't have enough spare rolls to replace 10-foot section. Heat it and hammer it flat. Maintain integrity." "Roger that." "Davison, bring torch closer." "No, on strut." "Strut is twisted." I wrote single observation in margins. "Why is ground steaming?" Heard distinct hiss of oxyacetylene torch over radio. Imagined scene. Blue flame roaring against ice-crusted steel. Steam rising in thick white plumes. "It's not bending back, Vance," Davison said. "Like metal has memory. Wants to stay pushed out." "Just hit it harder," Vance grunted. "Give me sledge." Rhythmic clanging sound as Vance hammered. Clang. 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 Vibrated through ice. Sound of men trying to impose order on landscape that didn't want them. Then rhythm broke. "Whoa," Vance said. "Hold up. Davison, kill torch." "What is it?" "Look at snow. Down in trench we just dug out. Is that water?" "Too cold for water, Vance. Gotta be slush from torch heat." "No," Vance said. Voice dropped octave. "It's moving. Bubbling up from under post." I sat up. Pressed radio to ear. "Command, we've got seepage at fence line," Vance reported. "Thick gray liquid coming up from permafrost. Smells like..." "Hell, smells like tower did last night. Like old copper." "Avoid contact," Miller ordered. "Probably chemical pocket. Old survey marker or fuel dump. Finish weld and get inside." "Copy." "Davison, hand me the..." Transmission didn't cut out. Captured everything. Sound like wet sheet being ripped in half. Sudden violent slap of displaced matter. Then Davison yelled. Pure shock. "Vance! Get back! Vance! Get it off me!" Vance screamed. Not combat scream. Primal shriek of man who touched something his biology rejects. "It burns! God, it burns! Command! Man down! Man down at Sector 4! Davison shouting. Voice cracking. "Something came out of hole! Grabbed him! I'm sending response team!" Miller barked. "Davison, drag him clear!" "What is it? Bear? Wolf?" "No, it's the slush!" The slush grabbed his leg. I threw notebook aside, ran to porthole window, scraped frost away with fingernails, peered into twilight. Couldn't see fence line clearly, obscured by steam and frantic flashlight beams, but saw Vance, big man on back in snow, kicking wildly at something that looked like pale gray ribbon wrapped around his boot. Davison pulling him by harness, dragging backward across ice. As they pulled away, ribbon didn't snap. Stretched, elongated like taffy, refusing to let go until Vance kicked it with other boot. Connection severed with snap that recoiled back into ground. Gray substance vanished beneath snow. They got Vance into airlock 3 minutes later. Entire station awake now. Novia blackout hadn't officially started, but panic setting in. Brought Vance to infirmary. Miller there. Station medic, Holloway too. I wasn't supposed to be there, but in chaos nobody stopped me standing in doorway. Saw Vance sitting on exam table. Face pale, slick with sweat. Teeth chattering so hard he couldn't speak. Holloway cutting away pant leg of cold weather gear. "It went through suit?" Miller asked, staring at heavy insulated fabric. "It didn't go through it, sir," Holloway whispered. "It permeated it. Look." Fabric wasn't torn, discolored, bleached white in shape of handprint, or something resembling handprint, if hand had fingers too long with too many joints. Holloway peeled fabric back. Room went silent. Vance's calf wasn't bleeding, no puncture marks, no teeth marks. Skin where thing touched him was dead, matte gray. Looked like frostbite, but texture was wrong. Geometric. Gray patch had sharp, angular edges, like crystallization patterns spreading across window pane. Spreading even as we watched, creeping inch higher up shin. "I can't feel it," Vance stammered. Eyes wide, unblinking. "Captain, I can't feel my leg. But I can hear it." "Hear what, soldier?" Miller asked, stepping back involuntarily. "The humming," Vance whispered. "So loud. In the bone." Miller ordered Vance quarantined. 2 armed guards at door. Rest of crew double-checking perimeter seals on all habitat units. Mood shifting. Denial breaking. You can ignore ghost story, but can't ignore man whose legs turning to graystone right in front of you. That afternoon, dogs started. Outpost Novia kept 4 Greenland Huskies. Not pets, early warning for polar bears. Animals bred for ice, tough. Aggressive. Fearless. Lived in kennel run beneath supply hut. Around 1600 hours, kennel went silent. Usually barked at shift change. When handler went down to feed them, he came back white-faced, refusing to speak. Miller went down to look. Dogs alive, but not dogs anymore. Not in behavior. Squeezed into furthest corners of kennel, pressing bodies so hard against corrugated steel walls, they were bruising ribs. Not looking at door. Staring at floor. All foreheads down. Eyes locked on wooden planks, separating them from ice below. Shivering in unison. No sounds. No growls. No whimpers. Just absolute terrified silence. Soren, the radar tech, finally put pieces together. Man of numbers. Found comfort in predictability of physics. While Rest cleaned weapons and boarded windows, Soren buried in strip charts and voltage logs in control shack. Found me in mess hall that evening. I was drinking coffee, staring at dark window, trying not to think about thing and vent. Soren sat across from me, slid graph paper across table. "You were right," Soren said quietly. I looked at paper, mess of jagged lines and spikes. "Right about what?" "The hum," Soren said. "Vibration you felt. Look at this." Pointed to red line spiking periodically. Output log for main generator. Every time radar dish pulses, every 12 seconds, generator load spikes. That's normal. But look at this blue line. Blue line was interference monitor. Tracked static and background noise on radio bands. Every time radar pulses, Soren explained, tracing line with grease-stained finger. We get massive spike in ground wave interference. Not from sky, from ground. Something down there reacting to pulse. Like echo. Elias. We shout with radar, and something under ice shouts back. Turn it off, I said. Tell Miller to shut it down. Tried. Won't do it. NORAD orders standing. We are eyes of free world. We don't blink. Soren leaned closer, voice dropping. But here's scary part. Interference getting stronger, frequency changing, starting to match biorhythms of crew. What does that mean? It's not just noise anymore, Soren said. It's trying to tune us in. Horror of Outpost Novia wasn't sudden explosion of violence. It was slow creeping infection of reality. Realization laws of nature being rewritten by something asleep for million years. Something viewing thermal energy and radio waves as food. By 1900 hours, blizzard hit. Not normal storm. White wall slamming into station with hurricane force winds. Burying compound in seconds. Visibility 0. External cameras blinded by snow. Wind howled like living thing. Stripping paint off metal walls. Inside, station felt like submarine diving too deep. Pressure palpable. And in infirmary, Vance was changing. I was on mess duty, cleaning dinner trays, when infirmary intercom clicked on. Holloway's voice trembling. Captain to infirmary. Now. Please. I followed Miller down corridor. Shouldn't have. But fear of being alone in mess hall, worse than fear of what was happening to Vance. When we entered medical bay, air was freezing, heating unit cranking full blast, but room cold. Vance standing center of room, ripped IVs from arm, naked from waist up. Gray crystallization spread, covered entire left side now, geometric patchwork of dead gray flesh looking like armor plating, but his face made me stop breathing. Vance staring at wall, eyes wide, vacant, mouth open, moving rhythmically, not speaking words, making sound. Ping. Psst. Ping. Psst. Exact sound of radar sonar. Mechanical chirp of emitter. Static hiss of return. Mimicking machine perfectly. Down to metallic timbre of electronic pulse. Vance? Miller stepped forward. Hand on sidearm. Soldier. Stand down. Get back on bunk. Vance didn't blink. Turned head slowly. Movement smooth. Hydraulic. Just like thing on fence. Ping. Sss. He's not in there, Captain. Holloway whispered, backing into corner. Tried to give sedative. Needle broke on skin. It's like stone. Vance, Miller shouted. That's direct order. Vance stopped noise. Looked at Miller. Looked at me. For second, flash of recognition in eyes. Terrified human soul trapped behind mask of gray ice. Turn off heat, Vance said. Voice wasn't his. Chorus. Sounded like Vance layered with Davison, radio operator me. Polyphonic recording of crew spliced to form sentence. Turn off heat. What heat? Miller demanded. Furnace? Big light, Vance said, voice distorting, sliding into static. It's calling. Vance's knees buckled, collapsed to floor, not like man fainting, but like marionette whose strings cut. Hit linoleum with heavy wet thud. Lay still. Gray patch on torso pulsed, shifting slightly, as if cells rearranging themselves. Miller stood over him, gun drawn. Chest heaving. Holloway, strap him down. Leather restraints. If he wakes, sedate again. Morphine if you have to. Yes, sir. Miller turned to me. Get back to post, Private. Not a word of this to others. Vance is sick. That's all. Sick? I stared at Captain. "Sir, he sounds like damn radar. He's becoming part of it. He is sick," Miller roared, composure cracking first time. "We ride out storm, then evac him. Until then, you do job. Observation deck, thermal scope on perimeter. If Russians use storm to cross ice, I want to know." I ran. Back through tunnels. Sound of Vance's mechanical voice echoing in head. Reached observation deck. Small bubble of reinforced plexiglass on roof of command hut. Only place with view of outside world, though world was just swirling white chaos. Grabbed portable thermal imager. Heavy cumbersome tech looking like bazooka. Propped on sill. Pressed eye to rubber cup. Thermal scope saw through snow. Converted heat to green light. Scanned darkness. Expected nothing but flat cold wash of blizzard. Screen lit up. "Oh God," I whispered. They weren't 5 miles out. Weren't at fence. Inside. Screen filled with heat signatures. Dozens of them. Pressed against outer walls of station. Huddled together in lee of wind. Elongated fluid shapes. Glowing bright green against black background of ice. Looked like oversized slugs, or men with no bones, writhing, feeding. I watched paralyzed as one shape slid up wall of generator hut. Pressed body against warm metal of exhaust vent, absorbing heat, pulsed, glowed brighter. Then, as if sensing my eyes on them, shapes stopped moving. One by one peeled off walls, turned. On grainy green screen, 50 faceless heads looked up toward observation deck. I keyed mic. Hand shaking so hard almost dropped it. "Command," I choked out. "They're not attacking fence." "What are you talking about, Elias?" Miller's voice tight. Exhausted. "They're already here, sir," I said, watching green shapes begin climbing walls of habitat module. Hugging huts. Soaking up heat. And Captain, there's dozens of them. Lights flickered. Hum of generator deepened, groaning under new impossible load. And from beneath floorboards, beneath feet of every man in station, sound began to rise. Not wind. Scratching sound. 1,000 fingernails testing metal from outside. They wanted in. Scratching wasn't loud. Intimate. Sounded like fingernails dragged slowly across corrugated steel siding. Testing rivets. Searching for seam. Inside station noise amplified by hollow spaces between walls. Echoed through ducts and floorboards. Persistent rhythmic scraping seeming to come from everywhere at once. I backed away from observation deck window, clutching thermal imager to chest like shield. Heart hammering against ribs, frantic drumbeat out of sync with slow deliberate movements of creatures outside. Kept glancing at green screen, watching heat signatures pulse against exterior habitat modules. Clustered around vents. Exhaust ports. Places where station bled warmth into frozen night. "Captain," I whispered into radio, voice barely audible over rising wind. "They're testing seals. Know where heat's coming from." Miller's voice crackled back. Tight, controlled, but strain in it. "Get down here, Private. Now." Locking down command center. I scrambled down ladder. Boots ringing on metal rungs. Air in tunnels felt heavier. Thicker, as if storm pressure crushing station like tin can. Ran past darkened doorways. Past mess hall where half-eaten trays sat cold on tables. Station felt abandoned, even though new crew huddled in central module. When reached command center, scene was grim. Miller stood by main console, face pale in emergency light glow. Soren hunched over radar display, hands flying across controls. sweat dripping from nose onto glass. Holloway there too, sitting folding chair by door. Clutching medical kit, looking like about to be sick. "Report," Miller snapped as I burst in. "They're all over walls, sir," I gasped, leaning against doorframe catching breath. Dozens of them. Look like liquid, absorbing heat from exhaust vents. Miller stared at me long moment, eyes hard. "You sure what you saw?" "Saw them on thermal, sir. Glow like flares." "And they looked at me." Soren turned from console, expression grim. "He's right, Captain. Look at generator output." Pointed to gauge on wall. Needle buried in red. Load spiking every time they touch walls. Drawing power. Feeding on thermal energy. "Even possible?" Holloway asked, voice trembling. "Physics says no," Soren muttered. "But biology doesn't always follow rules. If adapted to extreme cold, might have metabolism based on thermal absorption. We're basically giant hot plate and freezer." Miller paced small room, boots thudding on metal floor. "Break connection. If drain generator, lose heat." "Lose heat. Freeze." "Can't just go out and shoot them off walls," I said, remembering bullets doing nothing in tower. "Small arms fire won't stop them." "Need to know what we're dealing with," Miller said, stopping in front of filing cabinet corner. Unlocked with key from belt. Pulled out thick yellowed folder. In station archives. Classified geological survey from 1948. Skimmed when took command, thought just rock samples. Threw folder on desk. Paper spilled. Maps. Grainy black and white photos of ice cores. Typed reports stamped top secret. "Look at this," Miller said, pointing to paragraph. "Survey team found anomalies in deep ice. Biological matter. Called it cryogenic dormant biomass. Said it reacted to electromagnetic stimulation." Soren grabbed report. Eyes scanning text. "Reacted how?" "It woke up," Miller said quietly. "Used ground-penetrating radar to map ice shelf. Frequencies. Stimulated biomass. Started moving towards signal source. Like moths to flame," I whispered. "Exactly," Miller said. "But survey team shut down equipment. Got out before anything happened. We've been blasting high-frequency radar pulses into ice for 6 months." "We rang dinner bell," Soren said, looking sick, "and kept ringing it." I looked at radar screen. Sweep arm still rotating, sending pulse every 12 seconds. Ping, s, s, ping, s. "Turn it off," I said again. "Soren, kill radar." Soren looked at Miller, captain's jaw set, muscle twitching in cheek. "Sir," Soren said, "cut radar, stop signal, maybe lose interest, maybe go back to sleep." "And if Soviets launch strike while we're dark?" Miller asked, voice low. "If bomber wing comes over pole and we don't see them?" "Millions die, Soren. That is mission. We hold line. There won't be anyone left to hold line if those things get in here." Soren shouted, slamming hand on console. "They're eating station, Captain, and Vance. Vance is becoming one of them." Miller flinched at mention of Vance, looked at infirmary door down hall. "Vance is contained. Is he?" Holloway asked quietly. "Checked on him 10 minutes ago. Restraints loose. Not because he broke them. Because wrists. Shrinking. Bones dissolving, Captain. Turning to liquid." Heavy silence fell over room. Scratching sound from walls seemed louder, more insistent. Scrape, scrape, scrape. "We hold position," Miller said finally. Reinforce seals. Conserve heat, but radar stays on. Soren stared at him, disbelief written on face. Sentencing us to death. Following orders. Miller said, turning back to map on wall. Now get back to stations. I watched exchange. Cold knot of dread forming in stomach. Miller good soldier, brave, disciplined, loyal, but fighting wrong war. Fighting war of maps and borders and ideologies, while something ancient and hungry clawed at door. Sir, I said, stepping forward. Permission to check armory. If breach, need something heavier than rifles. Miller nodded, not looking at me. Go. Take Holloway. Bring back flamethrowers. 2 units for de-icing runway. Maybe fireworks where bullets didn't. I grabbed Holloway by arm, pulled him out room, moved quickly down corridor toward supply hut. Air and tunnels getting colder. Could see breath now, puffing white clouds. Heaters struggling to keep up with generator drain. Think he's crazy? Holloway whispered as reached armory door. Miller, think he's lost it? Haven't lost it, I said, punching code into keypad. Just scared, falling back on what he knows. Orders, protocol. Only thing keeping him together. Armory small windowless room lined with racks of M14s and ammo crates. Corner, 2 M2 flamethrowers on shelf. Heavy cumbersome weapons designed for clearing bunkers in Pacific, not fighting monsters in Arctic. But right now, looked like best hope. Handed 1 tank to Holloway. Know how to use this? Seen training films, Holloway said, struggling with straps. Point and shoot, right? Don't light yourself on fire, I said grimly. Short bursts, save fuel. Strapped other unit onto my back. Weight comforting. Solid tangible presence against spine. Checked pressure gauge. Full. Let's get back to command, I said. As stepped out armory, lights died. Not flicker. Total blackout. Hum of generator cut instantly, leaving silence so sudden profound it felt physical blow. Only sound wind howling outside and scratching on walls. Generator, I whispered. They drained it. Oh God, Holloway whimpered in dark. Oh God, oh God. Quiet, I hissed. Fumbled for flashlight. Clicked on. Beam cut through darkness. Illuminating frost already forming on metal walls. Need to get to generator room. Restart manually. But they're out there, Holloway said, voice rising in panic. On walls of generator hut. If don't get power back, freeze to death in hour, I said. Move. Led way. Flashlight beam dancing down corridor. Reached junction leading to generator hut. Door heavy steel. Sealed with pressure lock. Grabbed wheel. Turned. Stiff with cold. Help me, I grunted. Holloway put shoulder into it. Together forced wheel to turn. Latches disengaged with loud clank. Pushed door open. Generator room cavernous. Dominated by massive diesel engine powering station. Air smelled oil and exhaust. Pitch black inside. Emergency lights failed with main power. Swept flashlight around room. Engine silent. Sleeping giant of iron and steel. Check fuel lines, I ordered. I'll check breaker panel. Moved to electrical panel far wall. Opened box. Shined light on breakers. All tripped. Overload, I muttered. Sucked it dry. Elias. Holloway's voice came from other side engine. Small. Terrified. Elias, look at vent. Turned light toward large intake vent high on wall. Designed to pull fresh air into room for engine. Heavy metal louvers bent inward. Twisted like wet cardboard. And dripping from vent. Thick gray sludge, pooled on floor. Steaming in cold air, not just liquid. Moving, pulsing, shifting, forming pseudopods reaching out, testing concrete floor. Back away, I said, raising nozzle of flamethrower. Holloway, get behind me. Holloway scrambled back, knocked over tool chest. Crash echoed like thunder in silent room. Gray sludge reacted instantly, surged forward, flowing toward sound, faster than anything that size should move. Wave of semi-solid matter defying friction. Squeezed trigger, jet of liquid fire roared from nozzle. Illuminating room, blinding orange glare. Heat intense, seared face even through mask. Flame hit sludge dead center. It shrieked. Not vocal sound. Sound of boiling liquid. Gas escaping under pressure but pitch tore at eardrums. Sludge recoiled. Bubbling. Thrashing. Fire didn't just burn it. Repelled it. Pushing mass back toward wall. It works, Holloway yelled. Burn it. Burn it all. Held trigger down. Swept flame back and forth. Sludge retreated. Flowing back up wall. Back toward vent. Squeezed through twisted louvers. Vanishing into night outside. Let go trigger. Flame died. Only blue pilot light burning at nozzle tip. Room filled with smoke. Smell of burnt ozone. Kill it? Holloway asked. Coughing. Don't think so, I said, watching vent. Just annoyed it. Turned back to breaker panel. Get power back. Now. Started flipping breakers. One by one. Clack. 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 Holloway, prime engine. Holloway ran to primer pump side of diesel block. Pumped handle furiously. Fuel pressure up. Hit starter button. Starter motor whined. High-pitched scream of metal on metal. Whirr. Engine coughed. Sputtered. Caught. Cloud of black smoke erupted from exhaust stack. Generator roared to life. Floor vibrating under feet. Lights flickered on. Dim at first, then brightening to full intensity. We did it, Holloway said, slumping against engine block. Not yet, I said. Bought time. But as long radar running, they'll keep coming back. Made way back to command center. Lights on in corridor, but dread hadn't lifted. Worse. Station felt fragile now. Bubble of light and sea of darkness actively trying to crush it. Entered command center. Miller on radio, shouting into handset. Mayday. Mayday. This is Outpost Novia. Under attack. Request immediate air support. Over. Static. Just static. Storm blocking signal, Soren said, not looking up from console. Or maybe they blocking it. Interference off charts. Miller slammed handset down. Looked at me, noticing soot on face and flamethrower on back. Report, Miller said. Generator back online, sir, I said. Breach in intake vent. Drove them back with fire. But getting smarter. Looking for weak points. Radar still transmitting, Soren said. Signal return. Changing. Changing how? Miller asked. Not just noise anymore, Soren said, voice shaking. Pattern. Look at scope. I looked. Green line on radar screen wasn't random jagged wave. Pulsing in rhythm. Short, long. Short, long. Morse code? I asked. No, Soren said. Simpler. Binary. On. Off. On. Off. Mimicking pulse rate of human heart. Whose heart? Holloway asked. Vance's, Soren whispered. Medical file here. Resting heart rate 72 beats per minute. Exactly what interference pulsing at. 1.2 hertz. They absorbed him, I said, feeling sick. Didn't just infect him, took his biological signature, broadcasting it back to us. Why? Miller asked. To tell us they're coming, Soren said. Suddenly, infirmary intercom clicked on. Static first, then voice cut through. Captain. Vance. But not mechanical spliced voice from before. Clear. Human. Terrified. Captain. Please. Cold in here. Let me out. Please. Miller froze. Looked at intercom speaker on wall. Vance? Better now, sir, Vance's voice said. Gray stuff fell off. Skin pink again. Feel fine. Just cold. Please, open door. Sir, Holloway looked at Miller. If recovered. If just reaction. Don't listen to him, I said sharply. Trick. They mimic sound. Heard it in tower. But he knows who I am, Miller said, hand hovering over door release button on console. Sounds normal. Captain, don't, Soren yelled. Miller hesitated. Voice from speaker came again, pleading. Soren, tell him. Poker game last night. Owe me $5. Not monster, guys. Vance, let me out. Miller pressed button. Magnetic lock on infirmary door disengaged with loud thunk. No, I screamed, raising flamethrower. Door slid open. Vance standing there. Looked normal, wearing fatigues. Face flushed with color. Smiled, relieved human smile. Thanks, Cap, Vance said. Thought gonna freeze in there. Took step into corridor. And fell apart. Literally. Body lost cohesion. Skin, uniform, face, all dissolved into puddle of gray sludge hitting floor with wet splash. Wasn't Vance. Never was. Perfect three-dimensional lure constructed from biomass that consumed him. And from puddle, pseudopods shot out like whips. Lashed out, grabbing doorframe, pulling main mass forward. Behind it, filling infirmary, wall of gray flesh. Come through floor. Eaten through foundation of medical bay, filled room, waiting for door to open. Fire, Miller screamed, drawing pistol. Fired blindly into mass. Bullets hit with wet thwacks, vanishing without effect. Stepped forward, pulled trigger on flamethrower. Corridor filled with flame. Sludge shrieked, terrible boiling sound. Recoiled, retreating back into infirmary. But too much of it. Pouring out like broken dam. Seal door, I yelled. Hit manual override. Miller slammed fist onto emergency seal button. Heavy steel blast door began sliding shut. But sludge fast. Tentacle of gray matter shot out, blocking door track. Motor whined, struggling against obstruction. Jamming door, Soren shouted. Aimed flamethrower at gap. Burn it out. Sprayed concentrated jet of fire directly onto tentacle. Sludge bubbled. Charred. Turned black brittle. Shattered under heat. Door slammed shut, severing limb. Lock engaged. Silence fell over command center. Broken only by heavy breathing of 4 men and crackle of cooling metal. It knew, Soren whispered, staring at sealed door. Knew about poker game. Accessed his memories. Not just animal, I said, lowering flamethrower. Intelligent. Learns. Miller slumped against console. Face gray. Looked old. Defeated. Can't hold them if can mimic us. Get inside our heads. Kill radar, I said. Only way. No, Miller said, straightening up, voice lacking conviction. Follow protocol. Screw protocol, I shouted. Look what just happened. Thing used Vance to get us to open door. Playing us, Captain, and as long dish spinning, getting stronger. Lights flickered again. Hum of generator dropped pitch. They're back at intake, Holloway said. Draining power again. No, Soren said, looking at console. Not intake. Look at radar output. Needle on radar power gauge climbing. Pushing past red zone. Power not being drained, Soren said. Being diverted. Something rerouting station's power grid. Rerouting to where? Miller asked. To transmitter, Soren said. Boosting signal. Why would they do that? Holloway asked. Not just feeding on it, I realized, cold horror washing over me. Using it. Trying to call more of them. From where? Miller asked. From everywhere, Soren said. Entire ice shelf. Boost signal enough. Wake every dormant cluster for 1,000 miles. Scratching on walls stopped. Silence that followed worse. Silence of anticipation. Then new sound began. From ventilation shafts again. But not scratching. Voices. Dozens of voices. Whispering. Muttering. Let us in. Cold. Open door. Just game. Turn off heat. Mimicking crew. Playing back every conversation. Every plea. Every scream absorbed. Sound-filled room. Coming from vents. Floorboards. Very walls themselves. They're inside perimeter, I said, gripping flamethrower. In walls. Miller looked at map station. Traced lines ventilation system with shaking finger. Vents all lead to central hub, Miller said. Right above us. Looked up at ceiling. Heavy steel grate of main air exchange directly over command console. As watched, screws began to turn. All at once. Screws turned with sound like grinding teeth. Slow, deliberate rotation, as if invisible fingers applying torque from inside ductwork. I watched heavy steel grate above command console begin to sag, fasteners working loose one thread at time. Noise not just metal on metal, accompanied by wet rhythmic slapping sound I'd heard in tower. Slap. Drag. Slap. Drag. Get back, I yelled, shoving Holloway toward far wall. Grate fell. Hit console with deafening crash. Shattering glass over radar display. Sending sparks flying. But nothing dropped out whole. Not immediately. Instead, thick white mist began pouring from open vent. Rolling across ceiling like dry ice fog. Smelled ozone and rot. Same metallic stench-filling infirmary. Masks, Miller shouted, pulling gas mask from pouch on hip. Seal masks. Fumbled with own mask. Fingers numb, clumsy. Missed not just cold air. Heavy. Clung to surfaces, leaving thin film frost on everything touched. As pulled straps tight overhead, saw first shape emerge from darkness ceiling void. Didn't look like thing on fence. Didn't look like Vance. Looked like spill. Pale translucent mass of fluid dripping from edge vent, stretching into long thin strand touching console. Then another strand dropped. And another. Coalesced on metal surface, pooling together, rising up like mercury in thermometer. Mass began taking shape. Torso. Then head. Then arms. But features wrong. Face smooth blank slate. Devoid eyes or mouth. Arms ended in stumps looking like melted wax. Rough draft human being. Mockery biology constructed from memory and ice. "Open fire," Miller ordered, voice muffled by mask. Raised sidearm, fired 3 rounds into center mass. Bullets punched through creature with wet thuds, passing clean through, sparking against metal wall behind. Holes in chest closed instantly, fluid knitting itself back together without drop blood. Creature lunged, didn't run, launched itself across room with hydraulic snap limbs. Hit Miller chest, knocking him backward over chair. Captain hit floor hard, gun skittering away across linoleum. "Get it off him," Soren screamed. Brought flamethrower up, but hesitated. Miller wrestling with thing, hands gripping slick cold shoulders. If fired, burn him alive. "Holloway, CO2 extinguisher," I yelled. Holloway grabbed red cylinder from wall bracket, pulled pin, sprayed cloud freezing gas directly onto creature. White cloud enveloped Miller and thing on top him. Creature shrieked, same high-pitched boiling sound, and stiffened. Extreme cold of CO2 seemed solidify outer layer, turning fluid skin brittle. Cracked like thin ice as Miller kicked it away. Scrambled backward, gasping air through mask. "Hates cold?" Holloway asked, confused. "Thought lived in ice?" "Lives in insulation of ice," Soren said, backing away as creature began thawing, reforming. "Feeds on heat, sudden temperature drops shock system, disrupt thermal transfer. Can't fight them in here," Miller said, staggering to feet. "Too many vents. Too many entry points. Fall back." "Fall back where?" I asked. "Tunnels compromised. Habitat modules swarming with them." "Generator room," Miller said. "Only sealed environment left. Independent ventilation. Heat. Exactly why they'll be there," I argued. "Biggest heat source. Also fortress," Miller said. "Reinforced concrete walls. Blast doors. Seal ourselves in. Hold out until relief bird arrives." "Relief bird not coming for 3 weeks," Soren pointed out grimly. "Make it 3 weeks," Miller snapped. "Move out." "Elias, take point with flamethrower. Holloway, grab medical supplies. Soren, secure hard drives. Want data on these things preserved." Moved into corridor. Air freezing now, temperature plummeting as station's heating system failing. Breath-fogged lens mask, limiting vision to narrow tunnel light from flashlight. Walls tunnel-coated frost. Metal groaning under stress thermal contraction. Hadn't gone 20 feet when voices started again. "Help me. Hurts. Captain. Please." Coming from walls. Not vents this time, but other side corrugated steel. Creatures in crawl spaces, moving parallel, matching pace. Tapping on metal, playful rhythmic drumming sounding like rain. "Ignore them," Miller said, voice tight. "Keep moving." Reach junction where tunnel split. Left to sleeping quarters, right to generator hut. Path left dark, lights failed completely. But in beam flashlight, saw movement. Figure standing end hall, by door latrine. Wearing parka, hood pulled up. Standing perfectly still, facing away from us. "Davison?" Holloway called out. "Is that you?" Figure didn't turn, just stood there, swaying slightly. "Davison dead," I whispered to Holloway. "Saw him go down infirmary." "No," Holloway said. "Saw Vance. Davison with response team. Might have made it out." Holloway took step toward figure. "Davison, fall in. Moving to generator." Figure slowly turned around. Inside hood, no face, just smooth gray surface rippling like water. And from center blank visage, mouth opened, vertical slit tearing skin apart chin to forehead. "Davison is here," it mimicked, using Holloway's own voice from 3 seconds ago. Then exploded. Figure burst apart, not into gore, but dozens smaller pale shapes scuttling across floor like crabs. Fragments biomass, independent hungry, surged toward us, filling width tunnel. "Burn them!" Miller shouted, squeezed trigger. Flamethrower roared, filling narrow tunnel wall fire. Heat intense, reflecting off metal walls, singing eyebrows. Creatures screeched as burned, bodies curling up black smoking husks. Smell charred ozone overpowering. Kept trigger down, sweeping flame side, walking fire toward junction. Creatures retreated, scuttling back into darkness sleeping quarters. "Clear," I yelled, letting flame die. "Go right! Go right!" Miller ordered, pushing Soren ahead him, sprinted down right-hand tunnel toward generator hut. Sound pursuit behind us now, wet slapping heavy bodies moving fast metal floor. Not playing anymore. Hunting. Reached blast door generator room. Closed. Wheel spun tight. "Open it," Miller yelled, turning cover rear with pistol. Grabbed wheel. Wouldn't budge. "Jammed," I grunted, putting back into it. "Pressure seal frozen. Use pry bar," Soren shouted, pointing red emergency cabinet wall. Smashed glass with butt flamethrower, grabbed heavy steel bar. Jammed into spokes wheel, heaved. Metal screamed protest. Wheel turned inch. Then another. Behind us, darkness end tunnel began shift. Massive gray shape flowing toward us, filling corridor floor ceiling. Wall flesh, rolling forward like tidal wave. "Hurry!" Miller fired 3 shots into mass. Bullets disappeared without slowing it down. With final agonizing screech rusted metal, wheel spun free. Latches disengaged. Through door open. Heat hit us physical blow. Generator room warm, too warm. Air thick humid. Stumbled inside, Miller slamming door shut behind us. Spinning locking wheel. Second later, something slammed other side steel with enough force shake dust ceiling rafters. Boom. 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 "In," Holloway gasped, sliding down wall. Safe. Looked around room. Massive diesel engine chugging away. Rhythm steady reassuring. Lights bright. But something wrong. Soren staring far wall. "Where flamethrowers?" Asked quietly. Looked shelf where second unit bin. Empty. Holloway took one. I said, "I have other." "No," Soren said. 3 units inventory. 2 operational, 1 for parts. Parts unit on bench. Gone. Scanned room. Large industrial space. Pipes, conduits, shadows. Plenty places hide. "Check perimeter," Miller ordered, reloading pistol. "Elias, keep flamer ready." Moved slowly through room, checking behind fuel tanks tool lockers. Banging blast door continued, dull rhythmic thudding setting teeth edge. Rounded corner main generator block, stopped. Sitting floor, in shadow flywheel man. Wearing standard issue parka, torn stained grease. Holding missing flamethrower tank lap, tinkering nozzle assembly. Looked up I approached. Davison. But eyes wrong. Black. Solid black, edge, no whites, no irises. Looked like pool's oil. "Davison?" I whispered, aiming flamethrower chest. Smiled. Slow stretching smile revealing too many teeth. "Hello, Elias," Davison said. Voice smooth, devoid mechanical distortion heard before. "Bring fire?" "Drop it," I ordered. "Drop tank." "Fixed it," Davison said, holding up nozzle. Seal cracked. "Leaking fuel. Dangerous." I said drop it. Miller others came around corner. Weapons raised. Davison didn't flinch. Just sat there, cradling weapon like baby. "How get in here?" Miller demanded. Door sealed. Vents, Davison said, pointing up. Small, but fit. We? Soren asked. Davison's smile widened. All here, Captain. Vance. Dogs. Even ones from Survey Team 48. Remember them too. Tasted like fear tobacco. What are you? Miller asked, voice shaking. We echo, Davison said softly. Shout dark, we answer. Bring heat, come fire. Simple arrangement. Killing my men, Miller said. Saving them, Davison corrected. Cold out there, Captain. So very cold. In here. Tapped chest. Warm. Keep warm forever. Stood slowly, lifting flamethrower. Don't do it, soldier, Miller warned. Not soldier anymore, Davison said. Conduit. Pointed nozzle, not us, but main fuel line feeding generator. Thick rubber hose pulsing high-pressure diesel. If burn fuel, Soren realized, horror dawning face. Generator dies. Heat dies. And radar dies, Davison said. Want turn-off, don't you, Elias? Wanted stop signal. Not like this, I said. Only way, Davison said. Signal hurts us. Wakes us, but hurts. Like needle brain. Want stop. Want go back sleep. But hungry now. Can't sleep while food. Tightened grip trigger mechanism. Shoot him, Miller yelled. Miller fired. Bullet hit Davison's shoulder, spinning him around. But Davison didn't drop weapon. Didn't cry out. Just turned back. Black eyes focused fuel line. Squeezed trigger. Jet fire erupted nozzle. Hit rubber fuel line instantly. Hose melted burst. Spraying pressurized diesel fuel into open flame. Explosion threw me backward. Wall heat force slammed into me, knocking wind lungs. Hit concrete floor hard, vision going white. When could see again. Room inferno. Generator engulfed flames. Black smoke billowed ceiling, choking air. Fire suppression system kicked in, halon gas hissing nozzles overhead, but breach fuel line feeding fire faster gas could smother it. Get out! Miller screaming, dragging Soren toward door. Evacuate! Now! Scrambled feet, coughing. Heat unbearable. Skin felt tight. Blistering thermal assault. Looked for Davison. Standing middle fire. Not burning. Absorbing it. Flames drawn into body. Sucked pores. Glowing. Skin turning translucent bright orange, revealing dark fluid structures beneath. Looked like man-made molten glass. And laughing. Terrible multi-voiced laugh echoing over roar fire. Turned ran. Grabbed Holloway collar parka, hauled toward door. Miller had wheel spinning. Through door open, we tumbled out corridor. Cold air hit us sledgehammer. Contrast inferno freezing tunnel shocking. Miller slammed door shut, spun lock. Second later, muffled whump shook heavy steel. Explosion inside consumed last oxygen. Generator gone, Soren coughed, wiping soot face. Power out. Permanently. Station plunged absolute darkness. Emergency lights, batteries drained, destroyed, dead. Pitch black, Miles help, no heat, no power. Radar, I whispered. Off? Soren pulled handheld frequency scanner. Clicked on. Green display glowed dark. Signal dead, he said. Transmission stopped. So, go back sleep, Holloway said hopefully. Right? That's what he said. Want sleep? Maybe, Miller said. Or maybe finish what started. Stood dark, listening. Scratching walls stopped. Voices gone. Only sound wind outside creaking cooling metal. Need get survival shelter, Miller said. Detached main complex. Manual stove emergency rations. Make a cross compound, might survive night. Cross compound? Holloway asked. Outside? Can't stay tunnels, Miller said. Without heat, place 40 below hour. Freeze death here. And out there? I asked. Out there, Chance, Miller said. Storm breaking. Saw monitors before power died. Wind dropping. Clicked on flashlight. Beam weak. Batteries dying cold. Check weapons, Miller ordered. Move diamond formation. Soren, you have data. Holloway, stick me. Elias, take rear. Don't stop anything. Moved airlock nearest generator hut. Miller cycled door manually. Groaned open, revealing white void outside. Wind died down, but air still lethally cold. Aurora borealis dancing overhead. Green-purple ribbons light illuminating snow-eerie shifting glow. Stepped out ice. Silence Arctic immense. Station loomed behind us. Dark dead skeleton steel. Made it about 50 yards before saw them. Not attacking. Waiting. Dozens pale fluid shapes standing roofs huts. Perched radar dish. Clinging fence. Glowing faintly. Radiating heat stolen generator. Watched us featureless faces, bodies swaying slightly wind. Formed gauntlet. 2 lines silent sentinels flanking path survival shelter. Don't look at them, Miller whispered. Just walk. Walked. Boots crunched snow. Loud stillness. Felt a tension, physical weight pressing skin. Kept flamethrower pointed ground, finger trigger, but knew didn't have enough fuel fight them all. Past first hut. Creatures' roofs leaned down, stretching necks like curious birds. One dropped glob gray fluid landing snow just inches Holloway's boot. He flinched, but kept walking. Halfway shelter heard sound, not voice. Hum. Low-frequency vibration felt soul's feet before heard ears. Stopped. Feel that? Keep moving, Miller hissed. No, I said, turning around. Look dish. Massive radar dish top command center dead. Stationary dark silhouette stars. But air around shimmering. It's off, Soren said, staring scanner. No power. Can't transmitting. Not transmitting, I realized. Receiving. Hum grew louder. Creatures' roofs suddenly stiffened. All turned heads unison. Not us, but north. Toward pole. And from darkness beyond perimeter fence. Something answered. Sound so deep rattled teeth. Tectonic groan seeming come center earth. Ice beneath feet cracked. Fissure opening snow just outside fence line. Steam erupted crack. Geyser white mist shooting 100 feet air. Run! Miller screamed. Broke sprint. Survival shelter only 20 yards away. Could see door. Half-buried drift. Behind us, creatures began scream. Not scream aggression. Scream panic. Abandoned perches. Flowing down walls. Slithering across snow. Not toward us, but away. Fleeing. What running from? Holloway yelled. Stumbling deep snow. Looked back. Steam cloud dissipating. And rising fissure ice, something made pale creatures look like insects. Massive. Tower gray flesh dwarfing radar dish. No shape. No defined form. Mountain fluid biomass. Pulsing inner light shifting green-violet. Poured itself earth. Expanding rose, blotting stars. Wasn't monster. Colony. Hive mind. Source. And waking up. Reached shelter door. Miller spun wheel, threw open, dove inside, tumbling dark freezing interior. Miller slammed door, locked it. Lay dark, gasping air, listening sound world ending outside. Ground shook, massive entity moved. Metal walls shelter groaned. Rivets popping strain. Then, silence. Absolute heavy silence. Gone? Holloway whispered. Don't know, Miller said. Crawled small periscope viewer, set wall shelter. Put eye lens. Compound empty. Creatures gone. Massive shape vanished. Only thing moving snow, drifting lazily wind. But station. Command center gone. Generator hut gone. Towers gone. Where buildings stood. Just hole. Massive circular depression ice, perfectly smooth, as if entire station scooped out giant spoon. Ice around edges melted, refreezing glass. Hadn't just attacked station, taken it. Gone, I whispered, pulling away viewer. Took it all. Took what? Soren asked. Heat, I said. Took heat source. Took metal. Took bodies. Alone, Holloway said, voice cracking. No, I said, looking survival ration crates stacked wall. Alive, have fuel stove, survive. How long? Miller asked. Long enough, I said. Long enough, tell them not turn lights back on. Sat floor, pulling knees, chest. Closed eyes, but could still see green glow thermal scope. Still hear voices, vents. Knew, with certainty, freezing blood. Silence outside wasn't empty. Waiting. Because pocket parka, handheld radio crackled life. Wasn't static. Rhythmic pulse. On. Off. On. Off. Then voice. Clear. Calm. Familiar. Station actual. This post 3. Have movement, thermal wire. Recording. My recording. From beginning. Replaying loop. Waiting someone answer. Turn it off, Miller whispered. Didn't shout. Didn't have breath shout. Just stared, handheld radio hand, eyes wide rimmed red frost. Thumbed volume wheel down until click, silenced speaker. Cutting loop, own voice. Silence rushed back, survival shelter, heavier air moment before. Pressed eardrums. Physical weight composed 40 degrees below zero, knowledge being mocked. Weren't just mimicking us anymore. Recording us. Editing tapes. Using distress calls, psychological weapon. Playing back, see break. Lure, Soren said, voice flat. Sitting crate MREs. Hugging knees. Shivering violently. Just like poker game. Just like Vance. Want us open door. Not opening door, I said, shoving radio deep parka pocket. Sit tight. Rations 3 weeks, stretch them. Fuel stove. Weight relief bird. 3 weeks, Holloway muttered. Curled sleeping bag corner. Staring ceiling. Saw what did station, Elias. Ate it. Dissolved steel. Think tin can holding them 3 weeks? Different, I lied. Station active. Generating heat. Pulsing radar waves, ice. Shelter cold. Quiet. Keep stove low. Keep voices down. Maybe forget here. Miller looked me. Command authority drained out him, leaving just tired, scared old man. Don't forget, Private. Said yourself. Learn. That first night. Or what past night. High Arctic winter, time-measured fuel gauge stove number crackers left ration tin. Settled rhythm, terrified waiting. Slept shifts, although nobody really slept. Just closed eyes, listened, wind scouring ice outside. Waiting, scratching start. But scratching didn't start. Worst part, Violence ended moment locked door. Creatures didn't attack walls, didn't try breach vent. Just left alone dark, with nothing cold deteriorating minds. By third day, temperature inside shelter stabilized 10 degrees above zero. Just warm enough keep us freezing death, but cold enough every movement agony. Frost grew inside walls like white mold, thickening hour. Huddled around small camp stove, watching blue flame flicker, terrified go out. Soren first start losing grip. Wasn't fear got him, it math. Spent hours scratching equations frost floor knife. Energy density, he whispered me fourth day. Doesn't make sense, Elias. Liquefy steel? Maintain thermal mimicry? Caloric intake required astronomical. Can't just feed heat. Need matter. Need biomass. Stop it, Soren, I said, checking periscope 100th time. View outside unchanged. Empty ice. Drifting snow. Massive smooth crater where outpost Novia used be. Starving, Soren continued, ignoring me. Woke them up, gave taste high energy radiation. Cut power. Down there, dark, starving death. No up here. 4 little batteries. 4 little heat sources. Shut up, Miller snapped. Not attacking because conserving energy, Soren said, looking Miller eye. Waiting run fuel. Waiting cool down. Then come collect us like popsicles. 7th day, radio woke us. Turned off. Sure turned off. But 0300 hours, static hiss cut silence shelter like scream. Station actual. This, Miller, bolted upright. Miller scrambled across floor, grabbing radio where left crate. That me, he whispered. My voice. Mayday. Mayday we, safe, come, light. Broadcast, Holloway said, eyes wide. Broadcasting distress signal using voice. No, I said, listening closely cadence. Spliced, listen gaps, taking words different conversations stitching together. Relief bird, inbound landing zone, secure. Miller gripped radio hard knuckles turned white. Try and call off rescue. Or call it. Can't tell. Turn off, Captain, I yelled. Miller didn't turn off. Pressed transmit button. This Captain Miller, he croaked, voice cracking dehydration. Identify yourself. Who net? Silence. Then sound made blood turn slush. Laugh. But not human laugh. Sound ice cracking. Sped up pitch shifted mimic human chuckle. Cold. So cold. Open. Door. Miller threw radio against wall. Smashed plastic shards. Batteries skittering floor. Voice died, but echo laugh hung air hours. Second week. Rations running low. Down 1 cracker spoonful peanut butter twice day. Hunger dull ache, but thirst worse. Had melt snow stove drink, and every time opened vent scoop fresh snow. Expected gray tentacles shoot inside. Holloway stopped talking day 10. Just sat corner, rocking back forth, clutching medical kit. Taken morphine syrettes, lined floor, counting over. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Each us. Spent time periscope. Only connection reality. Landscape outside changing. Crater where station been sinking deeper. Ice around edges fracturing, forming concentric rings looking ripples pond frozen time. Night, when aurora flared overhead, could see faint green glow pulsing bottom pit. Heartbeat. Earth beating. 14th day. Stove sputtered. Blue flame turned yellow, then orange, then died. Fuel's out, I said quietly. Nobody panicked. Too tired panic. Just watched last wisp smoke curl burner. Temperature shelter began drop immediately. That's it then, Miller whispered. End line. Body heat, I said. Huddle up. Sleeping bags. Make another week. No, Soren said. Stood up, movements jerky, uncoordinated. Can't cold. Not again. No happens freeze. Cells burst. Blood crystallizes. Walked toward door. Soren, sit down, I ordered, moving intercept him. Have go generator, Soren said, eyes unfocused. Fix fuel line. Davison messed it up. Can fix it. Generator gone, Soren, I said, grabbing shoulders. Melted. Nothing out there, ice. No, Soren smiled, terrible cracked stretching lips. Can't feel it? Heat? Coming crater. Turned big light back on. Shoved me. Weak, but had manic strength delirium. Stumbled back crate. Soren grabbed wheel door. Don't, Miller yelled, lunging him. Soren spun wheel. Latches cracked open. Threw door wide. Braced attack. Expected gray sludge pour in, or wind freeze instantly. But nothing came in. Instead, sound washed over us. Sound helicopter. Thwup, 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 thwup. Loud, close, unmistakably mechanical. Beat heavy rotors cutting heavy air. Bright spotlight swept open doorway. Blinding, dazzling white illumination. Bird! Holloway screamed. Scrambling feet. Came early. Miller's shielded eyes glare. Relief force. Captain Miller. Coming out. Wait, I yelled, grabbing Miller's parka. Listen, engine. Let go me, Elias, Miller shouted, striking hand away. Navy. Saved. Wrong, I screamed. Rhythm wrong. Too perfect. Sound rotors loop. Thwup, thwup, thwup. Exact intervals. No variation wind. No engine whine. Just percussive beat blades, playing over like scratched record. And light wasn't searchlight. Warm. Radiated heat-washed shelter, thawing frost eyelashes instantly. Searchlight doesn't feel furnace. Don't go out there, I begged. Soren already gone. Walked out snow, arms spread wide, embracing light. Warm, he sighed, voice drifting back us. So warm. Then vanished. Didn't fall. Didn't walk dark. Walked light, and light simply absorbed him. Second silhouette against glare. Next gone. Dissolved photon stream. Miller Holloway ran after him. Captain, no. I scrambled door, but heat pushed back. Physical, wall pressure smelling ozone wet copper. Watched Miller run toward source light. Wasn't helicopter. Hovering 20 feet ground. Right crater. Massive floating orb bioluminescent plasma, pulsing same binary rhythm. On. Off. On. Off. Mimicking rescue. Pulled concept salvation heads built lure light sound. Miller stopped beneath it. Looked up, face filled joy. Permission board, he whispered. Tendril gray fluid dropped orb. Looked winch cable, but moved snake. Wrapped Miller's waist. Didn't scream. Didn't fight. Let lift him. Holloway tried grab legs, but another tendril shot down caught neck. Stood doorway shelter, paralyzed. Watched two men pulled up light. Bodies seemed melt ascended, losing shape, humanity, flowing mass entity above. Rotor sound stopped instantly. Light blinked out. Darkness crashed back down force hammer. Alone. Slammed door shut. Spun wheel until hands bled. Dragged heavy crates rations front it. Building barricade knew useless. Crawled farthest corner shelter. pulled sleeping bag head, squeezed eyes shut. Didn't sleep. Didn't eat. Just listened. 3 days, entity hovered shelter. Tried everything. Mimicked mother's voice. Mimicked sound steak sizzling grill. Mimicked sound woman crying. Elias. Open door. Warm here. Have answer. No frequency. Wanted me. Last piece set. Wanted complete collection. But had something others didn't. Didn't have hope. Killed hope moment saw Miller rise light. Knew dead. Dead don't open doors. Drew pictures keep mind breaking. Piece charcoal dead stove. Covered walls shelter shapes. Drew radar waves. Drew fence. Drew eyes thing fire. Drew until charcoal ran out. Then used own blood. When real rescue came, didn't believe it. 3 weeks day. Heard rotors. Thwup thwup thwup. Didn't move. Sat corner. Clutching knife. Waiting light burn me. Then voices. Not radio. Outside. Clear door. Breach charge. Boom. Door blew inward, sending barricade crates flying. Men white winter camouflage stormed room. M16s raised. Flashlights cutting gloom. Clear left. Clear right. One survivor located. Soldier grabbed me. Tried stab him. Knocked knife away easily. Grip like iron. Easy, son. Easy. Got you. Safe. Looked face. Wearing goggles, but could see eyes. Blue. Scared. Human. Warm. I whispered. Yeah. Soldier said, wrapping thermal blanket around me. Got heater running bird. Get you home. Carried out. Sun risen. First time months. Sliver twilight horizon. Light gray week, but real. Loaded Sea King. Looked back station. Nothing there. Just snow. Crater gone. Filled in. Ice healed itself, covering scar outpost Novia never existed. But saw fence. Perimeter fence only thing left standing. Twisted. Melted. Barely recognizable. But recovery team. Men hazmat suits already setting perimeter. Gathered around specific section. Digging. Uncovered base fence posts. Metal not just bent outward. Fused bedrock. Posts pushed up below, driven through 10 feet permafrost force erupted earth. Ground around fence. Churned up. Not like explosion. Like footprint. Single massive footprint spanned entire compound. Pressed deep rock. Now frozen solid. Helicopter lifted off. Watched footprint shrink until just shadow ice. Debriefed hospital anchorage. Men suits, not uniforms. Asked generator failure. Asked carbon monoxide leak. Asked why hallucinated monsters. Told Captain Miller, Soren, Holloway died exposure after wandering storm. Showed official report. Typed, stamped, signed. Lie, but neat lie. Fit file. Discharged 100% disability rating, severe psychological trauma. Told forget Arctic. Told DEW line upgrading. New technology making old stations obsolete. Right. Shut down gap filler stations. Abandoned ice shelf. But know why. Didn't shut down because tech old. Shut down because realized what done. Thought radar shield. Thought watching sky bombers. But just tapping glass tank. Waking something swimming dark beneath feet since Ice Age. Live Arizona now. Desert. Like heat. Like sun. Don't own radio. Don't own TV. But sometimes, quiet nights, wind blows canyons just right, I hear it. Low rhythmic hum earth. Vibration travels bedrock rattles windows house. No, still there. Waiting. Listening. Because radar didn't create monsters, didn't mutate them, just sent signal. Now, every time look cell tower, satellite dish, microwave kitchen, I wonder. Wonder still transmitting. Wonder when going answer.